Hello everybody, back today with another video. Again, don't really know what I want to talk about. I just want to talk to the camera right now because I just feel inspired. I have a lot of things on my mind. Honestly, I've been enjoying making podcasts. They're very difficult. Like, obviously writing is hard, and it took me a very long time to get good at writing, but podcasts are very difficult because my brain goes all over the place, and I really don't go into these things. Like when I'm writing, I can enter the document not knowing what I'm writing about, and then I can write and then kind of figure out what I want to say, and then I can edit things, and then I can turn all that mumble jumble into something that's like coherent and has a single thread. But with the podcasts, I can't really do that because the way that I make them, which is the way that I will probably always make them, because it's just like how I prefer. It just feels more authentic and more me. I can't really. It's very difficult to maintain a single thread of thought, especially when you don't know what you're going to talk about going into it. And like, I have an idea of what I want to talk about when I do these things, but I don't know how I'm going to go about illustrating the idea. And sometimes I don't even know, like, if that idea is going to be the main point of the monologue. Sometimes I'll go into it with this idea, and I'll end up like thinking of something after talking my way through that original idea, and then I'll dive, into that tangential idea without a plan. And so I'll just lose my train of thought, and it just doesn't sound good. Like, I only post the ones that aren't absolutely horrible, the ones that kind of make sense. But for every single video that I post as a podcast, I've got like 5 to 15 attempts that just, I'll talk to the camera for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then I'll just like forget what I was talking about, and I'll just be like, oh my gosh, I've got to start over because I don't know what I'm even trying to say right now, and I'm not going to edit this, so it just sounds stupid. I think one day, once I got enough money, I'll be able to like hire an editor, and I'll probably also be able to like, I gotta stop saying the word like, I'll also be able to plan out my content a little bit more, so it'll be easier for me to just sit down and film it and give it to whoever, and they can clean it up so it sounds coherent. It's also easier to make things coherent when you've, like when I did when I interviewed Elon, it's very easy, not that we completely stayed on track, but it's easier to keep the train of thought moving forward because you're kind of building off one another, and so you like scaffold upwards and onwards. But when you're on your own, especially if you got a brain like mine, you're just like, you're taking a risk. You're just like throwing an idea into the wind and hoping it takes flight and doesn't crash into something. But yeah, I've had a lot of things on my mind today. I wrote a lot this morning in a very sporadic way because, as you all know, or as anybody who listened to my previous podcast knows, I'm trying to figure out my next step in life. And not that I guess I have a little bit more clarity today, but I don't have like a definitive answer to my conundrum. I don't know exactly what my next step is. I've also realized that I'm just not going to know what my next step is. until I take it. And a lot of people sent me, like, after I put up that previous podcast, a lot of people sent me like Bible verses and, you know, their own 2 cents, which was really helpful, and I'm really grateful for everyone who did that. But it's still very difficult. It's still very difficult to accept uncertainty. But today I feel a little bit better, because I think part of the reason I was so frustrated and so almost, I don't know, I think people I came across as like disturbed in my last video. And it's not that I'm not disturbed, but I think maybe my mannerisms might have portrayed a little bit more emotion than I intended. But I have realized that part of the reason I was so, air quotes, disturbed is because I was just constantly trying to move forward in my actions. And I think part of letting go, because I was trying to, like, mentally let go. And I was like, how do I do this? Like, how I was going to write a post about, like, how can you give it up to God? Like, how can you think your way into relinquishing the reins and accepting that God is in control? And I guess I've realized today that you can't really think your way into that. It's something that you have to act your way into. And for someone like myself, like, I'm constantly on the move. I'm always trying to do something that's moving me forward. Like, even right now, making this podcast, I'm, in essence, moving forward by making this podcast, or attempting to move forward by making this podcast. And today, I went to the pool with my friend, and I just, like, sat there in stillness, and I was idle. And I, for the first time in a very long time, I was with myself without stimulation, which is exactly what I needed. Because, and it's funny because I talked about this in a previous video that I made a couple of weeks ago called, it was the Discomfort is Your Guide video. And I talked about it, and I said it outright, like, sometimes you just need to sit in discomfort and let it consume you, because that is where your answers are. And I am, like, I'm super, not that I'm like a tough guy or anything, but I'm very familiar with discomfort, because I've done so much. I mean, I've been an athlete for 2 decades. Not that I played at a super duper high level, but I mean, I played like college and semi-professional. You know, I've been writing on my own. I'm a self-disciplined person. I've been writing on my own for 6 years, every single morning, basically, for like hours. And so I'm very familiar with pushing myself forward, even though it's painful. And so it's become the case for me. Excuse me, I'm burping today. It's become the case for me that it's more uncomfortable, not physically, but maybe mentally. It's more uncomfortable to be idle than to try and move forward. And so what I needed was to be idle. The clarity I sought was not in action, not in trying to do what I needed to do, but in literally, for once in my life, not trying to do everything in my power to move myself forward. And so I have a little bit more clarity today now, after sitting at the pool and doing nothing for an hour or two. It was literally just an hour or two. I was just sitting there doing nothing. And I feel a lot better, because for some reason, I was just able, I opened my ears to God in a way, and I just sat with myself and let whatever I've been pushing down below the surface of my conscious awareness. I let it sort of bubble up. And it's not even like any single answer became apparent to me in that time, but I don't know, my body just was able to sort itself out once I took my foot off the gas pedal, once I took the pressure off of myself to be constantly moving forward. So, yeah, I still don't have like the answer to my next step. I kind of have I guess I have a little bit better of an idea, which I don't really want to get into now, because I'd just be opening up a can of worms that like would lead me down a rabbit hole that would end up in shambles. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing still. I have a better idea, and I understand why I'm going to be doing that, probably. But for some reason that stillness, that lack of pressure, that lack of self-imposed pressure, allowed me to be more accepting of my circumstances. So I don't even know what I'm going to title this video. I don't even know what the lesson is here, besides the fact that sometimes, you know, basically, it's very similar to the previous video, like, sometimes you just don't know. But I guess the lesson today is that I've learned practically how to let go. And it's not in any sort of fluffy, cloudy, airy, you know, mentality. It's in your actions, because you are what you repeatedly do. And if you repeatedly try and do with every single second of your day whatever you can to control your life, then you're kind of gonna lose control. I don't know. Something like that. Maybe you guys get what I'm saying, maybe you don't. But anyway, if you're a hard worker, if you're doing everything in your power to move forward all the time, sometimes, contrary to what we're told on social media, I think it's best to take a step back sometimes. I mean, part of this is like the law of attraction. You attract what you are, meaning that if you constantly feel like you're doing everything in your power to get somewhere, then you're always going to be not where you want to be. If you instead take some time to appreciate where you are and feel like you're where you want to be, and do things that you actually want to do instead of trying to get to where you think you want to be, you'll end up. And it's not just that you'll realize you're where you want to be or where you need to be. It's also that you will literally allow yourself that freedom, that lack of pressure to see what you need to do next, to cultivate the clarity you need to move forward in the right direction. So I don't know if this makes sense. It kind of makes sense to me right now. Obviously, not perfectly, as I said. Like I said, I don't know exactly what this next step for me is going to be. I'm sort of just focused on my most immediate next step, which is being in Charleston for, I think I'm leaving next Tuesday, so I'm leaving in a week. And so right now I'm just going to keep on writing, maybe I'll make another podcast this week, make as much money as I can with my job and with Uber Eats and life insurance and whatnot. And I'm just going to enjoy my time in Charleston, because I don't know. I mean, I'm coming back here at the end of the summer for sure with my family, but I may or may not be moving back here in the fall. So I don't really know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to enjoy my time here, not put so much pressure on myself, trust in God that everything's going to work out, and trust in God actionably, not try and hold on so tightly to everything and try and control everything, but literally just enjoy myself and be me. So I think I'm gonna go, the pool was great today. I think I'm gonna go fishing on the beach, night fishing on the beach with my fishing pole, which is back here in my car. Gonna try and catch a shark, because that's something I've been wanting to do for a while, but haven't given myself the freedom to do. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Get some ice cream. I don't think I'm gonna be getting hammered or anything, but maybe just, I don't know, walk around. Just enjoy life. I think that's what I need. So yeah, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry once again that it's not super clear, super crazy insight, but I'll probably just end up posting this, and then I'll make another one later this week or sometime next week. And yeah, then I'll be back home. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon.